Hi everyone, it's Lou Collins. Today I would like to talk to you about making your colour choices in your papercraft projects much easier than you probably think they are. Do you ever have trouble picking the colour combinations and coordinating these colours? So the first thing I'm going to do is show you a colour wheel. Now this has got all the colours around the outside, it spins around so I can pick different colours, and it's got methods in the middle for choosing colours that go together. We're not going to be using this. Okay, so I'm going to make this so much easier for you. Don't worry about your colour theories. We are just going to go with our gut instinct, and I'm going to show you exactly how to get a feel for what colours go together really quickly and simply. You are going to find this comes naturally very soon for you. So I've got an array of cards here, and each of them uses different ways of picking the colours. So I'm going to talk you through 3 different methods for choosing your colours and lots of top tips and tricks for making sure those chosen colours go together perfectly. Now, if you ever browse colour combinations online, you'll see that the majority of them are 4 or 5 colours only. Now, these don't usually include white or black or any of the neutral colours unless they're specifically kind of a brown tone, because white and black and grey go with anything. So any colour combination, you can always throw in white, black and grey if you want all of your neutral colours. So picking 3, 4 or 5 colours, I would definitely say stick with the lower number to start with, and don't forget, once you've chosen your colours, you can go with any shades of that colour as well to keep the same colour combination but give it different variations. The only exception to that is if you are going with a rainbow colour theme like these. So if you are really picking probably 5, 6, 7 colours or even more across the rainbow. Now we're going to be talking about the rainbow a lot. All of us know what a rainbow looks like. Most of us know the order of the rainbow as well, which comes in really handy when you're picking and choosing colour combinations. So my first method is choosing 2 or 3 colours that are quite close together, that look quite similar. So let's show you this with my Distress Inks and Oxides. So if I was picking a colour combination, I start with the main colour. What's going to be my focal point colour? This might come from an embellishment you have. This might come from a topper that you already have for your card that you want to incorporate. It might just come from an ink that you know you've got ready, or a pattern paper where the boldest colour is prominent. Whichever it is, choose your one colour to start with, and then find a few colours that sit closely around it. So for example, greens and blues sit nicely, reds and oranges sit nicely, yellows and greens go nicely together as well if they're the right sort of tones. So I've got here a couple of different greens, or 3 different greens. This one's a bit more of a blue green, bit more of a yellow green, essentially all greens. So what I'm going to do now is just think about my rainbow and think, well, what's one colour that is going to be set far away from these? One colour that just wouldn't sit close against these and look right. This is the one that's going to be your accent colour, and I love to choose a coordinating set of colours and then one accent colour. For this, it might be something like a purple, for example. Doesn't sit too close in the rainbow, so it's further away. It might even be an orange. That's a fabulous colour combination. Those are going to work beautifully together. You could even go with a red or a pink. Now, this 4th colour here, or the accent colour, you're only going to use this in small amounts. It really is going to be little accents. So it might just be the gems that you place around your card. It might be that just your sentiment is from this colour. Whatever it may be, this accent colour isn't going to be prominent at all. Another example of this is maybe using some blues. So I've got 2 blues here, a light and a bright blue, and then I might choose yellow as my accent colour, or maybe I'll choose orange instead. Again, just a pop of different colour. So here's a few examples of projects that I've made using exactly that theory. I've used pinks and purples in here, and I've got green as my pop of colour. Now don't worry if you need to then add in something like yellow for stamen, a small another accent that is going to really make sense on the card. That's not an issue. Work with your colour theory, work with your colour ideas to start with, and just see where the card goes. This is making it easy for you. It's not supposed to be complicated at all. The same here, my flower, Funnily enough, the same flower. The flower and the background are all similar tones of kind of warm browns, oranges, burgundies in there. So they're all these sort of similar colours. And then again, I've got the pop of green. So two totally different colours, but green is that accent colour that makes everything really pop. Now this is a little more subtle. I've got the greens in here all the way up to the top, and just at the top I've got the hint of the yellow creamy colour there, but it just works and sets these off. Now this one, I've actually got blues and greens both at the bottom and the top of the card, and into the centre here I've just gone from the light green just into some pink, dusky pinks there briefly, and that is my complementary colour or accent colour, this pink in here. As you can see, it doesn't take up more than a third of the card. This one's a little bit different because for me I was ink blending on this card, so I needed to work those blues and greens that I've got at the bottom into my accent colour, which was this beautiful deep orange at the top. The only way I could do that was then to add a middleman as such colour, which is the yellow. So although my idea started with having the blues and greens with the pop of orange, as you can see there, absolutely stunning colours together, I needed that yellow just to blend them all in smoothly. But it worked for my card, and I started with my ideas, and as I say, I just went with it to make sure it worked for my project. Now, another really easy combination to go for if you're choosing your own and you're not inspired by any pattern papers or anything like this that might be included in your project is to simply choose one colour. Just one colour and go with that and neutrals. Now with one colour you can actually get a huge array of shades from this colour, and you can use all of those and then just simply mix those with neutrals. And that's what I've done in these cards here. Now a neutral I would class as a black, a white, a grey, but also a brown as well. Anything that's brown or cream I would class as a neutral. So I would mix any of these colours with lots of shades of one other colour to create a combination, and I've done that in all of these cards here. So the first one here, I have actually chosen red. Deep red burgundy is my colour. I've got a lot of brown in here, a lot of black and a lot of white, but you can't see any other colours in there. Along with the browns I would include gold in that as well, so I'm not actually adding an additional colour, and the red just looks beautiful against those warm browns. With this one, it's just simply green, black and white. The green I've used as a darker shade in the background, a lighter shade as a wash in the mountains there, but again, the same colour, black and white, that's all. Now this one that Monica has created is pink. A lovely bright pop of pink against the craft, the white with the black title. Again, really only needing one colour and then neutrals. The same here with lots of greens. So these are all different greens, but essentially all just one colour, the green, and then black and white. This one again, blues going from dark to light. Very, very similar blue, just different tones of it or different shades of it. And then black and white. And lastly, the same here with purples. But as you can see, you can get some beautiful effects and beautiful cards without worrying about mixing lots of different colours. Now on the opposite end of the scale, you could go with a rainbow colour combination, picking almost every colour. But you want to do this a little bit carefully as well, because otherwise it can just end up looking a big explosion of colour that doesn't really coordinate. Now for me, the trick here is two things. You want to go with either brights or pastels. As you can see, I've got the opposites here. And you want to keep them in a specific order. This is my rule for putting any rainbow colours onto a card, is if you do have them placed next to each other, and you can, place them in the order of the rainbow. Now you'll notice with the rainbow, this will go from red through to purples and loop back again. I tend to put pink between the purple and the red then. So you'll see it here. I didn't actually use red. I didn't use any primary colours that were particularly bright, but I took elements from the rainbow and placed them in that order. So we would have our red around here, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo and violet. Into the pink, and then round again. The same here, you can see the edge of the pink and the violet blue. We're actually going the opposite way here, so we missed out the warmer colours, the reds, the yellows and the oranges, but we came straight into this beautiful pale green, darker green or blue green, into the blues, into the purples and into the pinks, again following that rainbow. With this one I stuck with all of the cool tones rather than go with any of the warm ones, and there's an option for you that way as well. So again, you could stick with just your warm tones, which would be these ones, and that makes a beautiful combination as well. And I've ensured I've kept them in the correct order, and they are all pastel shades. There's nothing bright in here that's going to stand out from anything else. The same here, again, I've omitted the red, but essentially I do have that rainbow colour. Now you can take out any one of these colours you want. I don't have purple in here either, but I've still followed that same flow, that same order of colour. Now, sticking with thinking about the rainbow for one more tip for you here, and that's if you are ink blending specifically, because if you are blending inks, you're going to want to put your chosen colours. So for me here, there was a very dark green, a bright green. I had the red in mind, and then I had to add in the orange. So I've got my 4 colours, and they do flow beautifully, but only in a certain order. Now, although this is my colour combination, I could have had the 4 placed in any order, but instead I went from the dark green into the light green, into the yellow, and then into the red, because again, if we think about the rainbow, red, say orange or yellow, green, going towards the blue. That's the order that I stick with, and any colour combination, any blending that I'm doing, I will stick with that order again. Now again, once you've chosen your colour palette as such, you'll need to ensure that all the colours used on your card are of a similar shade within each colour. So for example, if you want to go with a pink, you've got the option of going with bright pink or pale pink. If you want to then take that down into a purple, you're also going to want to choose the bright or the pale to coordinate with the first you chose. If that then leads into, for example, a blue, the same again. Stick with brights or stick with pales. And there's great examples here within each of these piles. So for this card, I've used simply pastel colours. The grey in the background, the teal and the brown are all a much softer, paler colour. Again here, softer pale colours throughout the entire card. I'm not bringing in any bright colours in any way, shape or form. Now I want to show you this one particularly because over in my brights pile, I've got the same squirrel here. I've actually done it from a bright orange and I've teamed it with really bright, bold colours. There's nothing pastel in here. But then when I coloured the squirrel grey, I needed to ensure that this was then sitting amongst much paler pastel colours on the card, because there's no way this would have stood out if it was amongst these bright colours here, for example, and vice versa. If I'd have placed this bright orange squirrel on this card, it would have looked odd. So make sure with each of your cards you're sticking with either pales and pastels or bright and bold. Now just an example of how this can go wrong, I've got this card, it's all quite pale colours here, and I've got 2 small hexagons actually cut from a bright bold green. Now the green does coordinate in a way, there's elements of this green within some of these papers, so the colour itself would go, but if I place these hexagons as an example just on here, they just don't work because they are so bright. But if I was to tone these down and make them ever so slightly paler, they would fit in beautifully and then they would work. Whichever of these methods you choose for selecting the colours for your next project, hopefully this has made it much easier for you, less stressful, and you can refer back to this video time and time again to give you more ideas for creating different colour combinations. As always, if you enjoy videos like this, please don't forget to subscribe to the CraftStash YouTube channel so you can be kept up to date with everything. You can find anything that I've used within all of these cards at CraftStash just here, and we think you're also going to really benefit from seeing this video just here too.